Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A Green Bay drug dealer accepts a plea deal in federal court after being arrested with about 6 pounds of methamphetamine.
Brown County Drug Task Force shut down her business based out of a downtown hotel room. 39-year-old Nicole LaForge is no stranger to the court system, with multiple drug arrests and even a chance at treatment court.
In a first alert investigation, Brittany Schmidt explains how the case crossed state lines, which brought those federal charges.
Nicole LaForge faces an August sentencing in federal court for transporting meth from Chicago to Green Bay about a dozen times, admitting to authorities most of her life has involved illegal drugs. In 2021, LaForge entered Brown County's treatment court, battling a heroin addiction. Last August, Action 2 News was there when she graduated from the program.
I would just say not to give up in your family. Whoever's out there struggling, don't give up in them.
Now, authorities say LaForge has been caught dealing meth out of a room at the Hotel Northland in downtown Green Bay. Details from an 18-page criminal complaint show on March 6th, a confidential informant met with LaForge and received 24 grams of meth. Moments later, the Brown County Drug Task Force arrested LaForge. Evidence photos show what she describes as, quote, approximately 6 pounds of methamphetamine in the room. She admitted to about a dozen trips to Chicago for the illegal drug. In total, she estimated dealing up to 30 pounds of it. While talking to investigators, she referred to her drug dealing as a, quote, business. In a search of the hotel room, investigators seized about 2,500 grams of meth, along with smaller amounts of cocaine, fentanyl, a handgun, more than $1,700 in cash, and drug paraphernalia. According to the criminal complaint, the street value of meth is between $46,000 and $92,000. These photos paint a clear picture to investigators that the, quote, meth seized was in possession of LaForge for future distribution. In March, Brown County prosecutors charged LaForge with 10 drug charges, including 7 felonies. Last month, the state dismissed those charges as the case moved to the federal courthouse. Now, federal documents show LaForge has agreed to a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts in federal court, including possession of methamphetamine with the intent to distribute and possession of a firearm in furtherance of drug trafficking. Sentencing is scheduled for August 22nd. The government plans to recommend 15 years in prison. In Brown County, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News.